Good morning, students. Today I will discuss the chapter number 6 of Political Science, the crisis of democratic order. As all we know that the Indian Constitution was adopted on 26th of November 1949 and this constitution was came into effect on 26th of January 1950. During these 6 decades, there have been several ups and downs in the constitutional history of India. In this chapter, we will discuss about the emergency which was put by or imposed by Shrimati Indira Gandhi. So this chapter is totally related with the emergency, that what were the reasons behind the emergency and what will happen during the emergency and the consequences of emergency. First of all, I want to tell you that how many types of emergency powers. If we are talking about emergency powers, the Indian Constitution gives President the authority to declare 3 types of emergency, and these emergency powers are borrowed from the Germany Constitution. The first power is under the Article 352. It is called national emergency. National emergency can be imposed due to 2 reasons. First, external and the internal. In our Indian history, 3 times this emergency power was used by the President of India. During the Indo-China War of 1962, at that time Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan was the President of India. During Indo-China War, it was the first time when national emergency was used. Second time, Indo-Pak War 1971, at that time V.V. Giri was the President of India. First 2 incident took place due to the external disturbances, but third on 1975 imposed by Shrimati Indira Gandhi, and at that time the President of India was Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad. It was the first time in the Indian history when due to internal disturbance the national emergency imposed. So this is about the national emergency. The next kind of emergency under Article 356. It is also known as state emergency. We heard so many times that in a state president rule. I told you that the first time president rule was imposed by the president or by the central government in Kerala when the Communist Party under the Chief Ministership of E.M.S. Namboodiripad was removed by the use of Article 356. Till 2016, 115 times this article was used by the President of India on the advice of central government. The next kind of emergency is the financial emergency. Till now, this article is not in use in India. This type of emergency imposed by the President when the President think or the cabinet advise that there is no proper resources in our country, then the financial emergency will be imposed. In the previous chapter, we learned that how Indira Gandhi sidelined the syndicate. As I told you that syndicate, a group of senior Congress leaders, and there was a split in the Congress party in 1969, because I told you about the president election of 1969. The official candidate of Congress party was N. Sanjeeva Reddy and the independent candidate was V.V. Giri. He was then the Vice President of India, but he was supported by Indira Gandhi. So in 1969, the Congress party was split in 2 parts, Congress organization and Congress requisitionist. Congress organization was led by syndicate and Congress requisitionist was led by Indira Gandhi. So in the previous chapter we learned one by one that how the Indira Gandhi sidelined the syndicate. Next, the concept of this chapter, that background to the emergency. So what happened in emergency? Before emergency, there was some conditions in our country which was not in favor of the central government. 1970 was a period of political turmoil in India. The period witnessed tensions in the relationship between the government and the judiciary. So in the 1970 there was a period. There are three organs of the government: executive, legislative and judiciary. As I told you, the work of legislature to make the law, executive to execute the law and judiciary to explain the law. But in the 1970 there was a tension between the two important organ of the government, that was executive and the judiciary. The Supreme Court found many initiatives of the government to be violative of the constitution. The Congress party took the position that this stand of the court was against of the principle of democracy and the parliamentary supremacy. So many decision was taken by the Indian National Congress that the court thought that it was violative of the Indian constitution. But the two major incidents took place at that time. In 11th class I told you that before 1973 the senior most judge became the Chief Justice of India. But this convention was brought down by the Indian National Congress in 1973 when Justice A.N. Ray was appointed, superseding three senior judges. And again in 1975 when Justice M.H. Beg was appointed as CJI and superseding Justice Hans Raj Khanna. So this was the most important incident and there was the cause of tension between the executive and the judiciary. The next one was very important. On 12th of June 1975, the High Court gave a verdict that the election of Indira Gandhi was invalid. In the 1970 election, general election, Lok Sabha election, Raebareli constituency, from Raebareli constituency there were two rivals, mainly Indira Gandhi and Raj Narayan. But in that election, Indira Gandhi won. But after Raj Narayan filed a petition in the Allahabad High Court and the decision was came into favor of Raj Narayan. So these were the two important incidents between the executive and the judiciary. Next one is very important, and the next background behind the emergency was economic context. So what were the economic condition of India? As I discussed with you that in the 1971 the Indira Gandhi gave a famous slogan of Garibi Hatao. But the problem was there that after forming the government, the situation of the country was not improved. The situation of the country worsened. Why? What were the reasons? As we know that India had a war with Pakistan in 1971, and after this war, on the question of Bangladesh, this war was fight between India and Pakistan. But after this war, US government put an end to all foreign aid extended to the India by the United States of America. So after this war, all the financial aid which was given by the United States of America to India was stopped by the United States. Next one was that global increase in the prices of crude oil. As you know, crude oil, we are getting from crude oil, diesel, petrol, and everyone we know that crude oil, petrol and diesel are the essential part of our economy. If there is increase in the price of crude oil, it means there is inflation in our country. Next one is failure of monsoon. In the two consecutive years, 1972 and 1973, led to increase the prices of grains because 8% of agricultural production was fell down by the failure of monsoon. So this was also the shortage of food in our country, and there was a question mark before our food security system. And in this phase, industrial production fell down and employment increased. So these were the 5 important economic causes behind the emergency. The next concept is that the students movement. Students movement took place mainly 2 states, in Gujarat and in Bihar. The students led protest movement. Why the movement was started by the students? Because of the increasing prices of food grains in then Congress ruled states of Gujarat and Bihar. At that time in Gujarat and Bihar, the Congress party was ruled there, but there was very high inflation. That was the reason that the students of that states starting raising their voice against the policies of the government. The movement started in January 1974 in Gujarat and in March 1974 in Bihar. Then a person, Jai Prakash Narayan, and he was one of the important cause behind this emergency. He was later invited to join the movement who united such student movements across the country. In 1975, Jayaprakash Narayan led one of the largest march to the parliament. So these are the three important contexts. The first context which we discussed, that the tension between the two organs of the government, that was executive and judiciary. Second background, that was the economic context, that there was shortage of crude oil, there was inflation. Next one was students movement. So all these three were the important causes behind the emergency of 1975. This emergency was imposed over India on 25th of June 1975. Thanks, stay home, stay safe, and the next concept of this chapter we will discuss in the next video. Thanks and have a nice day.